Oh, Carrie's getting the lab back together since the flooding problems. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about that. Been there. When I was in the basement lab, that got completely flooded out. It was weird because I had it was a tiny basement in that building in the basement lab. This was before the 1.0, and I knew going in there. I thought there's just no way that this is not going to get flooded, and I put everything up on pallets. I basically I went to like a home supply store or something and filled up my station wagon with thrown out wooden pallets, and so all the boxes and stuff, everything that wasn't up on shelves, I stacked up pallets and then put the boxes up. So it gave me like a good 6 inches. So I figured if the sub pump stopped working, if water got in there, and there was at least twice that the floor completely covered with water, and I had to get in there and with a shop vac and try and pump it out. And but yeah, it happened a couple of times. But when the 1.0 lab got flooded on the first floor, I mean, I was in a building. It wasn't ever supposed to happen. It's just because they were demolishing the building around me, and they cut one of the sprinkler pipes. And I only had like a few days, a few days before the final move out. That was terrible. Even an inch of water. That's the thing. I mean, it's like if you're on the ground floor. Well, this is the thing. Even like in the building I'm in now, I'm like way up in the building, but it didn't happen on my side. But on another side of the building, there was a broken pipe last year and flooded like 5 apartments. And in the 2.0, when I was in the 2.0, again, my apartment didn't get affected, but across the hall from me in the 2.0 lab, there was a leak on the top floor, like in the ceiling. And when a big rain came, like the drain pipe bust, and 5 apartments, like in succession, got flooded. It's like, man, it's like every building that I've been in the last 15 years, well, yeah, every building that I've been in the last 15 years has had a flood in it. It's just, man. But yeah, if you're anywhere near the ground floor, every time that I've sit up on the ground floor, I've just kind of anticipated, well, everything's got to be up off the ground. Just at least 4 inches to give yourself a chance to deal with it before it gets to your stuff. At least the thickness of a shipping pallet is enough, at least, that if you have water ingress, that it gives you time to get a wet vac and start battling it, to drop down a sub pump to pump it out, which is what we did in the basement lab. I had a backup sub pump in case the main sub pump failed, which it did twice. And then you drop the sub pump in, you pump it outside. But yeah, boy, that water, man, it just there's the thing about water. It's like some kind of liquid. It just wants to go everywhere. I live on a water planet. That water, it just wants to get in. Ooh, lock washer. Broken washing machine. I worry about that. Like, when you're in a building with other people, it's just there's so many stupid things that can go wrong. You're trusting that everybody who lives above you will be responsible, and it's never the case. There's always some idiot living in the building above you who's going to do something stupid, like break a little pipe doing something stupid, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do, I can't call anybody, let's leave the apartment and pretend like we don't know what's going on. That's the smart thing to do. There's always some idiot who doesn't know how to turn off a valve. They might break a pipe, like or something in like on a toilet or something, and then they simply do not have the brains to realize that there's a valve right there. All you gotta do is turn it off. And I don't know what to do. It's spraying everywhere. Let's run. Let's leave. Let's leave the building, screaming. And then a whole building gets flooded. And that's what happens. It's lock washer. That's a terrible story about the water getting in the drawers and everything, man. I've over the years I've had terrible stories too. It's just it's not anywhere near that terrible. But the last time that we moved here, I got a disaster that I still haven't dealt with when all of my parts bins, I had all of my little meticulously sorted vintage parts in tiny little bins and in 3 separate bin racks, which I would hang on the walls of each of my labs, and had all the little individual transistors, individual little chips, resistors, all meticulously sorted and arranged, and I knew where all of them were. And I put them all together and like taped them up carefully, you know, closed them, put them in a box that was marked this end up and everything. And when I handed it to the movers, I said, this has to be this end up. Don't tilt it. It says this end up. And the last guy in the moving truck ended up just taking that box and literally putting it on top, apparently putting it on top of everything that was in the truck, because there was just enough room above all the furniture and everything. Just set it on top. And for the whole drive, that thing just rolled around like a basketball. And when they handed it back to me, it was like the last thing they handed it to me, it was like, it shook like a box full of broken glass. And when I opened it up, like all the little bins had basically poured into each other. It basically just mixed, you know, I don't know how many thousands of components in there, but basically 20 years of meticulous sorting had been undone in one move. And that box of the 3 parts bins is still underneath of the shelf there, waiting to be one day opened up, poured out, and all of the bins laid out and all the little parts resorted and put back into the little bins. But I haven't done that because it's like, well, I'm going to be moving out of here and it's just going to happen again. But so many times I've been wanting a part that I know used to be in those bins, and it's somewhere in the cluttered cacophony of that box. Never to be reorganized again, probably. Probably.
That's where I work. In the lab. Go berserk. In my lab. That's where I work.